which, by the way, in book two, that's where we find out the sun becomes the harbinger of the end of times.
You just spoiled the entire book.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally the ending of book two.
You're wild as hell, man. But book two, I feel like it focused more on Klaus and Gretel than anything else.
Wait. Oh, we missed something in
What's
book
up?
one. Stalin also started to participate in the war, and he captured Gretel and her brother.
In the end, yes.
Yes, so that winter weakened the Nazis so much that Stalin was able, with his soldiers, because they formed an alliance with the English and Americans,
Yeah.
to like basically use their forces to like do like a pincer attack.
Yeah.
So while they were focused on destroying England and not getting through the winter, they couldn't get through. Stalin and his people were attacking them from the back, and because they were weakened from the winter, they just fell.
And they were doing like
Also, too,
shady stuff.
yeah. Also, too, I think like how did Stalin capture them though? Because obviously Gretel wanted to get
Gretel wanted
captured.
to get captured, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how did Reinhardt? Oh yeah, this was another thing we missed. They split up. Reinhardt and Gretel. I mean, Reinhardt and Klaus were going back to the farm. I don't remember why. I think they were trying to restock or something.
Yeah.
And then Reinhardt was like, "We should be on the front line fighting. Why are we doing this? This is dumb."
Yeah.
And then Klaus was like, "We should go there." And then they had a disagreement. Klaus was like, "Instead of us killing each other, because they're literally about to fight,
Yep.
he's like, why don't you go your way and I go my way and we both get what we want?"
Yep.
So Reinhardt went to the front line. He fight his little heart out, throw out the battery because obviously
Yeah.
he's an
Fighting,
idiot.
yeah.
And then luckily he survived. Klaus went back to the farm. Somehow the farm lost. I don't know how the farm got like destroyed or whatever.
It was getting seized basically.
Didn't the doctor get killed in this one?
I think he got killed at that point.
But yeah, doctor. Oh, the doctor actually died when they did the teleportation into the middle of the camp and teleport back out.
Yeah.
He died from they dropped a bomb or something.
Probably. I don't remember.
Yeah. Gretel actually saved Marsh during that time, even though they were losing that fight.
Had to.
And she like called Klaus and she called Reinhardt. She was like, I need help.
Yeah.
And then when they both came, she was like, I don't actually need help. Let's just stay and watch this thing happen.
Oh,
And
man,
then they both
Gretel.
stayed and they were like, what are you talking about? Then you'll see the fucking like where the doctor was blow up. And she was like, see, we're free.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Book
So
two.
I don't know what Gretel.
Yeah, book two follows Gretel and Klaus after they get captured. She finally decides after like what 20 years.
Yeah.
That we'll escape today. I like you maybe wait 20 years for this. Like
We
just
missed
had
something
to,
in book one.
bro. We don't have to talk about every single thing.
But we missed an important thing about how they escaped, though. Remember?
What?
With the jar?
The jar?
With the brain inside?
Hiker's brain?
Yeah. So remember what happened in book one? How Heike's brain even ended up in a jar? We missed that.
Got her killed?
Yeah, so in book one, and this is the thing, like how book two kind of like explains stuff in book one. So in book one, Heike was finally getting good at being invisible and not like messing up. And they were starting to consider using her for the front for assassinations and stuff. And then all of a sudden, her and Gretel talking, Gretel whispering things in her ear and blah blah. And Klaus is like, that's weird. Gretel will never show interest in anybody. Next thing you know, we hear, oh, and we also have to remember too, like Reinhardt had a big crush, very pervy crush on Heike.
Mm-hmm.
And he was basically sexually harassing this poor girl all the time. And basically, Gretel was like, you're going to eventually get to hook up with her, don't worry.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
After she was dead.
Mm-hmm.
she killed herself because of Gretel basically telling her like they're still going to like not use you, you're still not useful, blah blah. She was like, well, why am I still alive?
Yeah.
Slip, slap.
Mm.
Reinhardt was like, damn.
He was
Leaving her
like,
before she
he was like,
get too cold.
damn,
He was leaving her before she get too cold.
that's crazy.
It's kind of wild.
The only reason I try not to jump back and forth is because it's already been like an hour and change, and we still on book one. And I don't want to like keep going back to book one.
Yeah, I feel that. But it's like everything's so like tied into each other because like as we said, we're like talking about like time travel.
Yeah,
And then we also talking about somebody who could predict the future. So like stuff that happened in book one, like for instance, Heike dying, explained in book two why Gretel basically manipulated her to kill herself. And the reason why is because during their escape, they had two guards who were standing watch, and Gretel basically needed them to get drunk, but they only had one cup.
yeah,
So the jar that had her brain, Gretel needed that jar so that they could have two cups.
yeah.
And the only way she could think of, I guess, or the only future she could see where that could happen was with
Mm,
Heike's brain
yeah.
being there. Yeah.
So 20 years later, they escape. Oh, Reinhardt is he's falling from grace. We gotta talk about
Yeah.
that.
He's basically he
Garbage
basically
man.
like garbage man collecting stuff. He trying to rebuild the battery and stuff.
Yeah,
He can do it. You don't know the technology.
yeah,
But
uh,
he's smart though. He
yeah.
taught himself how to like be an engineer basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Marsh lost his voice at this point, or
Mm,
not yet? It happens soon. After.
not yet.
Okay,
Not
okay.
yet. Not yet. This happened when he ran into the new Klaus. Oh, in the beginning of book two, warlocks were being assassinated. That's the next thing that was happening.
Warlocks?
Yeah, warlocks were being assassinated. So
Oh yeah,
basically, in
yeah,
book
yeah.
two, we meet this new person. I don't remember his name,
I don't think
but
he had a name.
he was basically so Stalin was basically able to reverse engineer what Dr. Van Heskenstein did. I don't know his real name, guys. I'm sorry.
Close enough.
Uh, they were able to reverse engineer from basically looking at their people's brains for who they were able to salvage,
Hmm.
who died, and also using Klaus and Gretel to like guide how they did it.
Yeah.
They were able to improve on it,
Hmm.
the battery technology, the EMP technology, like everything. Like they knew about the warlocks.
And they
They knew everything.
combined Klaus and Reinhardt together.
Yeah, I'm sure they could have combined more powers, but I don't think they were able to get the other powers because they didn't have the other people. Although they had Heike's brain, so I don't know why they couldn't recreate her.
Yeah.
But I think from her brain is how they learn how to reverse engineer it.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. I wonder know why they didn't. Did they ever recreate any of the other powers? Because I know in coming to the end of book two was when they basically had their sleeper agents get activated. Right. Just
I
another
think they
big
had a
spoiler.
different stuff happening all over the place.
Yeah. So they weren't all just like Klaus and Reinhardt. They were just different
No.
stuff.
Yeah, I think I had like different ones going around. But they didn't really
Okay.
get into detail about them.
I wish they did though,
A little bit,
just for
yeah.
my own like
Yeah.
curiosity.
See what they would do.
Yeah. Like imagine like Heike Klaus mix.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be deadly.
Well, Invisible and Wraith.
Yeah.
So you could still see Klaus when he's phasing through stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
That's why when he fight people, he would like stand between two people so that they could shoot each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
Or
go
yeah, the
ahead.
only power they couldn't recreate was probably Gretel's because nobody knows how to create Gretel's.
Yeah.
Technically, Gretel's was a mistake if
Hmm.
you read book three. But
Yeah.
anyway,
We have a lot more to go.
we have so much, dude. We're gonna be here like
I
until
gotta go
3
to
a.m.
sleep. Let's just get through book two and then do book three another time.
All right, that sounds fine.
So, Liv and Marsh are not a happy couple anymore because of their son, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the son basically like special ed ish,
Yeah.
where he just like knocking his head against walls and like being loud and obnoxious and like pooping on himself. And he's like a handicapped kid basically. He can't take care of himself.
He's just going crazy, and I guess she can't take it, so now she's sleeping with other people on the side, and he's just there in the garden, gardening and fixing stuff, and it's like
He's still trying to be a good
it
husband.
felt so bad.
It did.
I didn't,
That's the only time I felt bad for Marsh.
yeah, I didn't like
Like
that
he
at
don't
all.
deserve this.
Yeah,
He don't
nah.
deserve this.
Will is doing a bunch of bad stuff with the warlocks.
Will Will is pretty much addict at
He
this
started
point.
drinking in book one at
Yeah,
the
he
end of
started
book
drinking in
one.
book one and abusing morphine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then but in book two he met his wife and he
Yes.
was on the road to recovery.
He got help. Yeah.
He wasn't working with the Rolex anymore. I think at the end of book one he got
Oh yeah,
discharged actually.
he got let go.
Yeah. Honestly, I felt bad for him by the end of book one, and then I felt happy for him in book two until
Yeah.
it started to get bad again.
So what happened to get them back in?
Mm, I think at that time the warlocks were dying, were getting
Mm.
uh, killed, right? And they
Yeah.
were trying to figure out why.
Mm.
So I don't know how Will got roped back in.
Yeah, me either.
Don't know how he got roped back in, but he was at. Oh wait, was Second March? Was he here now? Was he starting to be here now? He wasn't introduced in book two. I feel like he was.
No, he was introduced in book one. He saw Gretel. He saw Will. He tried to shoot himself in the leg, and then he disappeared
Which
each
killed
time.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that was it.
yeah. Well, I don't know how, but Will got sucked back in because I feel like in book two, Second March was in there because book two was when the warlocks were being killed. No, he wasn't back in yet. He wasn't back in yet. But for some reason, Will decided the other warlocks have to pay for what they did,
Yeah,
even though, dude, you're a hypocrite. You did it too.
yeah.
So he was like basically like selling secrets to Stalin people to assassinate the warlocks because he knew where they all were.
That's why he get roped back in because Gretel told Reinhardt to take a picture of him and send it to Stevenson. When they saw the picture of
Mm.
him, they were like, "What's he doing?" So they brought him in to question him about what he was doing. Then they brought Martian because Martian's expert on espionage or whatever.
And at this time, Marsh was retired too. So,
Yeah,
because he retired when he had his son, because he was like, I want to start a new family. I don't want to be lying to live anymore.
yeah, yeah.
He did all the noble things, and he still get cheated on
Oh
repeatedly.
my
Pucks,
gosh.
basically. Sucks. But book two, I ain't gonna lie, book two was a blur for me.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was like so much things happening, dude. Um, let's get to the good part, especially since we're trying to, like, not talk about much. So let me give y'all the condensed version of book two. Book two was the new sleeper agent, the new people from Stalin had multiple powers. They didn't know at first that they existed, but somehow they figured it out. I don't remember how. Um, there was a fight scene inside a house where they were trying to trap him, and they thought he had Reinhardt's powers.
Hmm?
And then Klaus was supposed to. Oh, at this point, Klaus and Gretel made contact. Klaus and Gretel start being prisoners, but like not really because they were living in a house and they had their freedom and they could do whatever they want as
It
long as they
was
were
like a
always.
protective custody kind of vibe.
Yeah. As long as they helped them. Oh, they were using Gretel to like help them like do stuff. I don't remember why or what.
Yeah.
But and then Klaus was there to like just be there. And he was just living life. And my boy is
Yeah.
like, I want to.
I
He like,
want
I
to
never know
draw.
I want to be free. I've never been free in my life.
Yeah, that's so
I could make my
true.
own decisions. Yeah, I really like grew. He grew on me in
But
that.
he wasn't.
He wasn't really free, but he was more free than he ever been in his whole life,
That's true. That's true.
which is sad.
Yeah. Ugh.
He finally started to like not like his sister anymore, not trust his sister anymore. Okay, he started to realize
Yeah.
like she just using me.
Too weird. What was she doing?
Yeah, he's like, I devote so much time to her and I try and always protect her, but she just uses me. Like she doesn't actually care about me.
Yeah.
I feel like she did care about him in her own way, but only when it benefited her.
Yeah. That's not really good.
Yeah, that's not really caring about somebody. That's sociopathic. Um, so he decided to he met somebody,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the nurse, I think she was, or maybe she was a
He
spy.
was the head of the household.
Uh, and then he started learning how to paint.
Yeah.
And then him and Marsh kind of became friends, but not really. It was like a working
Yeah.
friendship, working relationship kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibe.
But the part about the fight that catch me off guard was like Klaus is like, okay, he's fighting he's face to face with the super agent. He's like, okay, if I'm weak at this, he's weak at this. He looked close, he's like, he's actually breathing.
No, no, you skipping stuff. You skipping stuff. Wait, wait,
We
hold on,
doing
hold
the
on.
you see you're gonna do the cliff
No, no, no.
notes.
This is the important part that you can't skip because this is a fight scene. You can't skip the fight scene.
Oh my goodness, bro.
First, they didn't even know he had two powers.
Yeah. But you said it
They thought
already.
they thought he was just like Reinhardt. So at first he was going to go and pull the plug, and he
Mm,
did do it actually.
yeah.
He got burned a little bit. Then the guy basically like plugged his thing back in, went in incognito, like basically like Klaus,
Yeah.
because Klaus was waiting for him again to like do something so he could plug it out again. And so they just both staring at each other, like just chilling, like Klaus over there, and dude over there, like, okay, that's what's up, that's what's up. And Klaus is like, wait a minute, this dude, I know I ought to practice. I know I
Yeah.
ain't hold my breath in a long time, but
Yeah.
this dude is not even struggling.
And he was like at
And he,
least like what 40, 50 at this point.
yeah, he was old. He was out of practice for a long time too,
Yeah.
20 years. So this guy, that's when he realized that their powers were different. They had better control of their powers. They didn't have any of the weaknesses, basically.
Yeah.
So this guy could breathe. I'm pretty sure his flyer thing probably didn't have the kinetic force still go through. I'm pretty sure. Um, yeah, the guy was basically like no weaknesses. They couldn't even use their pixies against the battery. Like the
Yeah.
pixie didn't even do nothing to the battery. It wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why this was happening, this fight scene, was basically because the only person left to kill was the last product left to kill was basically Will.
Yeah.
So they had to protect Will, and this what they wanted to set a trap basically, use
He
Will
was
as bait.
bait. Yeah.
Yeah, but Marsh is a. This is when Marsh got his voice destroyed.
The fire.
Yeah, he had to like. He's like, first of all, Klaus was hero level.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
He came outside. The fire guy found Will. We definitely skipping a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't matter. Fire guy found Will. He come outside. He start melting everything. Klaus came, touched the car, turned
Yeah.
impervious.
Yeah.
But he was like, "Oh shit, my battery about to die." So he just struggling to like keep the car intangible. Then Marsh came. Ugh. If 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 Klaus was like Superman,
Mm.
Marsh was like Batman. He come, he's like, I have a solution for
Yeah.
this. We break this pipe, spray this water, and he basically mashed up a fire hydrant, sprayed the water. The water had a double effect. It blocked his sight, so he couldn't see the truck anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like quits a little bit of his flames, but not enough
Yeah.
to stop it. And then they were able to escape.
Yeah.
So now Marsh tuck and roll behind some hedges or something, find a car, hotwire a car,
Yeah.
and he was like, I still have to complete the mission though. We still try and capture this guy. So he had the wise idea to take the car and ram it into the dude.
Yeah.
And that's what killed him. Basically, the guy, even though he was super hot, the car basically melted into his body. So I guess he did have a weakness.
Yeah. What I mean.
His weakness was a whole car.
Yeah. And you know what I just realized? What we did skip. Well, Will was supposed to escape cleanly, but he was on the wrong side of town. And I feel like that's all Gretel.
You think so?
this mission was so tight knit. How is the car blocks away? I will have to run past the window. Like they fight and Will just like running. I just imagine my head. He just run past the window, out of breath. I'm like, what are you doing outside?
And I know Will had to be fat. He had to be.
Out of
But
breath.
Will's an idiot too, because he was like, "Hello, I'm over here. Why are you yelling? Are you dumb? Why are you yelling?"
Oh my goodness. Okay, Marsh loses his voice, which was my first indication that he was second Marsh.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? Something happens. Oh, because he loses his voice, I guess Liv to take care of him now. Now she gained that like wifely feel back again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How did we get to? So I'll tell you something, right? I fell asleep, harsh portions of the book, because I was trying so hard to catch up to you that like I would listen to the book while laying down, or
You don't
listen to the
have
book while
to do
doing stuff.
that.
I was just listening to the book at all times, and I fell asleep during a part where the sleeper agents got activated. Like there's a bunch of stuff between them escaping from the house and the
Yeah.
sleeper agents get activated. I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh, I can't tell you.
Well, I guess it's not that important. But basically, guys, what ended up happening was um the sleeper agents got activated for some. Oh, so what was happening was Stalin put a bunch of people in the country
Yeah.
with powers and had them pretend to be basically English people. And you guys know what sleeper agents are.
Yeah.
Like basically you're actually a spy or you're a person who's working for the other government and you pretend to be a citizen of the place and then when you're activated, you basically cause havoc however you can or whatever. But these sleeper agents have powers. And so basically what happened is I don't know what happened, what caused them to activate them. Maybe it's the fact that their guy got killed and they were
I
like,
think that
we
was
don't
a
want him to.
catalyst. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were like, we don't want them to fake like reverse engineer our technology. We don't want them to figure out a way to stop our batteries, maybe. So they activate the sleeper agents. And oh, you missed something. The kids, the new warlocks
Yeah. The
in the
baby
basement.
warlocks.
Yeah. So at the end of chapter one, we learned how warlocks were created. And so they basically tried to recreate how warlocks were created. So they made this soundproof room in the basement of the place, and they just have these kids in there, no access to any language or nothing until I guess later on. And they basically have these warlocks who are better at negotiating, who seem to be allies with the Eidolons. I mean the Eidolons.
Indolence, yeah.
They seem to be allies with them, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Because they were like it was just weird. Like they didn't seem to be like human anymore. They seemed to be more Eidolon than human at that point.
Yeah.
And when Marsh came in, they were just like all the unison like little robots.
Yeah.
And then start saying his name, his Enochian name.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is creepy. If I was
Creepy as
there,
hell.
I'd have just machine gun all these kids. So
That's how they
basically the
started doing
kids
negotiations with the kids because the kids were better at Enochian.
they reduced the blood prices
Yeah.
by a lot, basically. I also think like the Enochians were playing the long game now because they were like, we're going to ask for as much blood prices because we going into the end game at this point.
Yeah.
We don't soon find these humans. It's all good.
Yeah. Oh wait. Gretel was playing a little game with Reinhardt as well throughout the book. They should have him do different tasks to get pieces of the blueprint to make the battery which he
For the
desperately
battery.
wanted.
That's where
And
they got the pictures.
oh my goodness. And like
Yeah, we yeah.
he's doing all the stuff for her that she asked him to do, getting pieces together, and then he figures it out without the last pieces.
Oh shoot, yeah. This is yeah. That was funny as heck, dude. I mean, it wasn't funny
And I was
at
like,
first.
you know why it was like jarring for me because I'm obviously we know what's happening in the world. They just cut to right now. I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, hold on. So the Warlock kids were there. They was very disturbing. Especially Marsh was very disturbed by it. He was like, "Y'all really did this."
Yeah.
Did Will talk about them?
Will was like no
Yeah,
at
Will was like,
first.
"Are you?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but these kids were fluent in Inakian.
Mm.
Fluent. That was their
The
first
first
language,
language.
and then English was their second language.
Yeah.
And basically, it was like a preschool slash the older kids teaching the younger kids and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So they had different age groups. I'm sure they probably had people who are adults, maybe, or at least like 18,
Teenagers.
19-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Um, but the thing with them was that they all were basically like otherworldly. Like one person will start saying something, and
Yep.
then next person would say it, and then
Like
it
a
was like I'll
chant.
say it in unison. It
Yeah.
was fucking creepy. Like imagining it was like creepy in my brain, dude.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I remember now what happened, what caused
I'm
things.
here. I'm here.
So sleeper agents activated.
Yeah.
Will came and he was like, we need to, like, they're killing us. They're destroying the country.
Oh, that
We need
part.
to
Yeah,
just
I
wipe
remember
them,
that part. Yeah.
wipe them all out
Mm-hmm.
at once. So he's like, kids, the bad men are here. Because that's what they would refer to the enemy
They
as
were
the
like right
bad men.
outside.
Yeah, they were like, kids, the bad men are here. We need to get rid of them. Can
Yeah.
you make them all disappear?
Mm-hmm.
And then the kids was like,
Bad man
disappear.
disappear.
Yeah, yeah,
Bad
bad
man
men disappear.
disappear.
Yo. So this was a plot hole here.
Yeah.
So my question is, one of the big rules that the warlocks had was never allow an Enochian to kill a person directly.
Yeah.
You could make them do stuff that would make the person die, like affect the weather or corrode the jet so the jet would crash, stuff like that, but never like actually tell them to kill somebody directly. My question is, if they can't find people, how can you direct them to kill people directly? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't help you that time.
Yeah, I was like, that don't make no sense. They're looking for blood maps to kill humans.
Yeah.
So if you direct them to kill a person or people, they can't find them. They don't have their blood map. So I was like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Wait, what? Yeah.
And then I also didn't understand how they got in the Enochians to target specific places in the world because the Enochians can't see our reality. So
Yeah.
how you could tell them like, hey, teleport me to this location? They don't know
Mm.
where that location is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in all of reality. So that was another thing. I was like, how did they even get teleported?
Do you think, for the first question, that the Enochians, the Eidolons,
I don't.
they could see the villain's craft or the Gertie Electron, maybe?
They could.
Yeah,
They could.
I think they talked about that.
They talk about that in book two actually.
Yeah,
So
so
we
that's
actually just
yeah,
talked about it.
yeah, that's how
So
it happened.
let me talk about it. So the Eidolons already hated humans because they felt like these people who basically don't even they're not even like greater than reality like we are.
Yeah.
They're these like little things that just exist in this pocket of reality. And they have the nerve to have sentience. They have the nerve to have sentience. How dare they?
Yeah.
That was their main issue with humans was that they had sentience. But then on top of that, there was a human who was able to see and influence time like they could, like they because they exist
Yeah.
outside of time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they're seeing past, present, future all at once. And then you have this human who have the audacity to not only have sentience, but also pretend like you're us. You could just see
Yeah.
time like us. Nah, y'all going too far.
Yeah,
Y'all already gone too far by existing, but
yeah.
no, you're stepping on my toes now.
Yeah.
So I think when their first hatred for humans probably started from the warlocks, but it probably wasn't as strong. They were like, minor annoyance.
Yeah.
But then when they sensed Gretel, I think that's when they was really like, no, we have to kill all human beings because
Yeah.
we can't allow this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Gretel is who introduced them to the Will's craft. Because now, like, because of her, they noticed that humans have the ability to shape reality, like bend reality,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's how they like was able to like see maybe the others, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when it was at the end, to jump to the end again, when they were wiping out the people, they were able to find them because of the villain's
Bill's
craft.
craft, yeah.
And that makes sense to me because like obviously they could sense it from like the fact that it's bending reality basically.
Basically. Yeah. The one whole field.
But still,
Yeah.
how could they find people who weren't using the villain's craft though? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because the thing was like, don't let them kill people. Okay, they can't though. Like,
Yeah.
you could tell them. I could tell Eidolon to go kill Kurt, for example, right?
Yeah.
Mashallah, God forbid.
Mm.
Um, and the Eidolon will be like, okay, I can try, but I can't find him. Can you give me his blood map? Can you give me like, can you get a blood sample so I can
Yeah,
find
yeah.
him? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it don't make sense. Okay, let's move on from that. Mm, oh, this was a question that I had that wasn't really a plot hole, but like, what if everyone could see into the future like Gretel? Like, imagine we lived in a world where you, me, our wife, everybody on the planet could see into the future and pick their path. How would that? Like, can you imagine how that would
It'll be
intermingle?
chaos because what if two people want the same thing? It's like what how far are you gonna go to make it happen? And with Gretel you see that she was willing to do whatever she had to do to get to wherever she wanted to be. And I feel like
Yeah,
as humans, I think it will be the same way. Everybody's gonna do whatever they need to do, trip what they got trip, do what they got to do anybody else just to get ahead and get escape.
I feel like the more immoral people would end up on top.
More than likely.
They would be the ones willing to do anything to have their future how they want it to be.
Yeah.
And then people like me who like very much like things that need to be fair, I'm gonna be trying to like come on top, but like make sure nobody I don't trample on anybody else to do it.
You're not
And
gonna make
then
it at all.
yeah, somebody else can be like, oh, he ain't trying to trample nobody else. Okay, well, he don't need to exist because I
Yeah.
need my future to come true.
Mm-hmm. Another question I think I asked you is if there's a lot of bad going on in the world and you have to do bad as well, like when does it stop being like too bad? You know what I mean? Like does one badness cancel out the other one? Because they're both bad, but like how far are you willing to go to stop that from happening? Basically, which is what the wars were doing. But they had to like derail trains, blow up buildings and stuff to fight to protect themselves. So it's like when does that stop being like that?
You know, that's like an analogy, which is like if you have a cancer growing, or like let's say you get poisoned, you get bitten right here or something from a snake, and you chop off your arm to prevent this poison from going to the rest of your body.
Yeah.
Or like even like the Punisher, whereas like he trying to like stop crime, so he's like doing something evil, which is killing the bad guys,
Yeah.
quote unquote evil.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing. Is like how far is okay to go? I don't know. I feel like to me, murdering innocent people in order to save other innocent people is like the
Yeah.
sacrifice the few to save the many kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's moral, but I think the problem was that they weren't willing to like put like this is the line that we won't cross. They didn't just that line just didn't exist.
Yeah.
And that was the problem.
I guess so.
I feel like if they had a line at least, then maybe Will would have been more okay with it.
Yeah.
Because he would have been like, okay, at least I know we won't like kill children or something. Like, maybe that could have been the line.
Yeah. I feel that.
But
So the
but
bad
let's
men disappear, and
yeah, let's finish the story and then I'll go back to my questions.
we have a well. After that, the only thing left was to no,
Wait,
yeah,
after they started making the bad men disappear, that's when Reinhardt finally figured out how to do the battery. And he
literally at
started
the same time.
murdering kids because kids were teasing him in the beginning
Yeah,
for being a trash man. And he was like, one day I'll
yeah,
kill all of y'all. He
yeah.
literally told them that.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. And then he finally got a thing and he just like circle everybody with fire so they can't escape, have the fire closing in slowly, which
Yeah,
is cool. He really had control because You could control
And
it.
after
And then
20 years,
he also learned how to freeze things, didn't he?
I am
At one point,
unsure. I'm unsure.
like he could like basically suck all the heat out of something that he put heat into.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But so he had real control. But anyway, so while he killing these kids, he just suddenly started to feel some kind of dread, like, wait, what's going on? Oh no, his power stopped working. It
Yeah.
stopped working. He was like, why is my powers not working? I know I make this battery. The Idol was like, nah, you don't have the right to do this. Fuck his soul, boy. But we should talk about the son when the son get taken over. How did he get taken over? Was it happen after they killed the bad man?
Yep. 'Cause I think
Ah,
he got a call or something, and he went home, and
yeah, they were
Liv
like,
was just
Marsh,
sitting
come home,
down.
Marsh, come
Yeah.
home. Liv was just sitting down there like scared. Son over there like,
But it felt like, was he still a baby? It felt like he grew up
no,
into like an adult, right?
well, he was at least like, I want to say like 12, 13 or something. That's what I'm guessing. Because
Mm.
20 years passed and he was born. He was probably an adult. He was probably like 20, maybe like 20 or 19.
Okay.
Because 20 years passed
Okay.
between like when he was in the womb
That
to
makes
when he
sense.
was.
That makes sense now. I
Yeah.
don't know why I thought of him as a, because how it was described, I thought it was a baby.
No, it's just that he couldn't take care of himself.
Gotcha. Okay, now it make more
Like
sense
he was
now.
an empty shell.
Yeah. And then he was speaking, and it was like, oh,
He was basically like what do you call them? Demons who like multiple demons inside one person.
uh, possessed?
No, it's a specific word.
Oh,
We are. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Legion. That's the word I'm looking for.
uh,
It's like we are Legion, basically. Like all the islands speaking through with one human voice box, and you could hear all of them at once. And that shit was that sounds scary, dude.
yeah, that's what I was saying.
So finally, they see their son acting like a normal. Well, not normal, but acting like he not brain dead anymore.
Yeah.
And at first, when Marsh came home, he was like kind of happy to see his son acting like he's standing up and doing stuff. And then when he
Yeah.
heard his voice, he was like, "Never
No
mind."
way. I'm gonna go back to the office, guys.
Yeah, I kind of wish I could come home. And then the son was explaining to them. I think that's when the Islands were explaining to them why they hated humans so much.
Hmm.
And then basically there was no negotiating with them anymore. They
No,
couldn't beg or plead or nothing.
because they got what they
And
wanted. They had everybody's blood. They could start seeing people.
yeah, they was basically using the body that they possess to see the human world.
Yep.
And basically, I think of it more like when you have Google Maps and you put a pin in a location, it was like that. Like they have an anchor to the world now. They have an anchor to the reality that they're trying to destroy now. So they didn't even have to see all of the world to like know where things are anymore. They
Yeah.
just needed that one person body to be existing.
Yeah.
So they just started wiping everybody out. It was like basically like reality was getting erased.
That's all I feel like a darkness just coming towards you.
Yeah. Kind of like you ever watch Never Ending Story?
Yes, but it's been a while.
Yeah. But watch it again. Well, that used to be one of my favorite shows when I was a kid.
Me too.
Um but basically, yeah, they just start wiping everybody out. And then Marsh, Will, Gretel was like, I have wait, who suggested the solution? Was it Will again? Like,
Oh, I think it's Gretel because she knew what had to be done.
I feel like she didn't just say it directly though.
Mm.
And she was like, if you could jump between two spaces, why couldn't you jump back in? Why couldn't you jump between two time spaces? I think Marsh is the one who said it to Will.
But
When Marsh and Will were talking,
I feel like she already knew though.
she definitely knew, but she wanted them to say it
Yeah.
basically.
And then,
And then
sorry, go ahead.
Marsh was like, I don't want to just do what you want, Gretel.
Yeah.
And then Gretel was like, but you will.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah. And he was like, well, you could save your daughter. And he was like, this.
Let's go.
Mm. If I was here, I'd have punched her before I leave. And I'm like, you mother-"
And this is the part I was gonna say before in book one, because Will was talking to her and he was like, if he goes back in time and doesn't allow this reality to come forward, you won't exist. And she's like, no, I'm in all of them. I was like, damn, that's that's
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's a
yeah,
lot of activity going on in one brain though.
yeah. That's why, like in book three, it kind of like showed like her struggle to even hold on to like sanity
I feel like she should
at
be
first.
on the same level as Kamler. That's his name, Kamler.
Yeah,
Where like she just goes crazy from all that information.
yeah, but she didn't. She
Yeah,
held it together
yeah.
because I think she was already slightly crazy. That's why I tell you, like I feel like she was already slightly crazy from birth, from like young.
Hmm.
That's the only way she could hold it in. Because I'm like in book three when she talked about going to her like inner place in her brain or whatever. That's a common thing for people who like snap.
Yeah. We'll
You
talk
know what I
about that
mean?
later
So
though. Yeah.
we'll talk about it later.
Well, basically, book two ends with Marsh going back in time.
Yes, the world ending and him going back in time to save his daughter was his real
That's the
initial
mission. Yeah.
thing, but
Yeah.
it turned into more than that in book three.
And we'll get into that next time.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys later. This was
Mate,
very fun.
excuse me. I said I had more questions, but
Oh,
I'll let you go
sorry. Yeah, this
first.
was first. I forgot. Go ahead.
I'll let you go
No,
first.
no, no. Ask two of them.
Okay, two of them.
I know you have eight.
One was imagining the world ending like that. What would you do in your last moments?
Where am I? Who's there?
You're gonna be like one of the last people to get wiped out. You and your family gonna be like the last people.
Then I have
But
to.
you seeing everything else around you disappearing like heck.
I might be cheesy and take my wife to the room one last time.
To the roof?
My bedroom.
For the
Yeah,
sneaky,
this is the last
sneaky?
thing I'm gonna
Oh,
do.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel that. I feel that. Okay,
Because
okay.
I don't feel like, I don't know, when it comes to like situations where people panic, I let everybody else panic. I'm just thinking logically of like what we could do. And if I realize like nothing we could do, I'm like, babe, let's just like
Yeah,
it's the last time.
right. Yeah. Might as well end with a bang, literally.
Hey, it's coming. But wait,
And then my last question is, well, not really a question,
yeah.
but one thing that was kind of poetic to me was that um, Gretel was trying to save herself,
Hmm.
but she ended up saving the whole world.
It's like a I forget what it's called. Collateral. It was like a
Yeah,
positive collateral damage,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But she was trying to save the world so she could be the god of the world or whatever. But that's
basically.
in book three.
Yeah,
But I found that kind of like ironic in a way because it's like you don't care about nobody,
yeah.
but you ended up doing the one thing that would have saved everybody.
But I think she did want to save everything and have herself be saved as well. Because the only way for it to be saved.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like honestly, I feel like if she could have done it without saving anybody, she probably would have.
Definitely.
But there's no way around it because the Eidolons.
She could have
Yeah.
probably just teleport herself somewhere else. But wait, we'll get into book three to
All right, we'll get.
understand why that didn't happen. Oh, I know what happened. Okay, okay. That's it. That's
Oh,
in book three.
wait. I have one more. I have one more. This is the last one.
Go ahead.
Very last one. If Gretel wanted to prevent the Eidolons from killing everybody, right?
Yeah,
And she knew that basically the reason why the Eidolons want to kill humans was because of like the technology.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure she figured that out. The technology and then the fact that the warlocks existed were two pieces to the puzzle. Why didn't she just destroy the technology on her own? So then the warlocks wouldn't be called. They would still exist, sure, but they wouldn't be called. I guess to answer my own question, maybe eventually the Eidolons still would have figured it out. It would have just been way further in the future because the warlocks would have eventually get them enough blood maps.
Probably. But
But
no, if they were destroyed, then they wouldn't have any reason to do it because it wouldn't be like a big force. It'd be like just a regular war.
Yeah, but don't you think the warlocks, even without the war, like just living day-to-day life would just be calling Idolans to do stupid stuff like, hey, can you do this for me? Like, but then I don't know, because the warlocks kept passing on their knowledge to their
I think
younger generations.
I think it seems like only Will was doing it, that did it, and showed him how to do it.
But you don't think the other warlocks were doing stuff? Because they were all like scarred up and butchered and stuff.
But I don't know if they were like actually talking to them. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. So the way how I imagine it is like the warlocks, eventually at some point, you can't give any more of yourself,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
Because I think the Idoans were only asking the warlocks to sacrifice a piece of themselves. They never were asking for other blood maps
yeah.
until they all got together and started requesting things.
Hmm.
So maybe they would have never found other humans.
Yeah,
Actually, know that about it more. Because they would have been like, hurt yourself more for me,
yeah.
basically. So
Still
they're like,
trying to figure out this map. Figure out this map.
yeah.
Hmm. Cool.
But I think it probably would have still ended up with humans getting destroyed because if the worlds keep passing on their knowledge to younger and younger generations, it might just take like thousands of years instead of like how fast it happened.
Then she wouldn't need to do anything at that point.
Yeah. So she still ended up saving the world because she could have easily just destroyed the technology, make sure only hers was the one that existed, and
And
then
run
she could have
away.
been the god of the world
Yeah.
until she died. And then who cares what happened to everybody else after you die?
I think they'll come after her though.
But not the warlocks.
No, but people will come after her. I guess she probably could see it and out, but it'll be exhausting
Yeah,
because
that's
you're on the
true.
run literally all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a book.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, well,
Book 3 next time.
book
Well,
three
next
next time,
time for
guys.
us, for you is like tomorrow. But yeah,
Pretty much. But this was Rabbit Hole Roundtable Talks. We didn't really end the last video. I just remember we didn't really end the last video. But in the comment
but
section,
with
let
the
us know
power
if
of
you.
editing, I'll just say this was book 1, and then boom, look at that.
That's wild. This was book one. Peace.
Well, yeah, in the
All right.
comments, let us know if you read the books, and let us know your thoughts on any questions that we had, any things that we missed. See you
All right,
guys later.
guys.
Peace.
Peace.